Hello to everyone who has come here to read my story. Before I begin, I will just tell you guys that all the names here are fake. I wanted to share my story without the risk of being recognised. I apologise in advance because there is no other way for me. My name is Blair and my daughter is Selena. She's the only good thing that came out of my marriage with Jared. I met Jared when I was already pretty established in life. My parents were deceased and I was starting to adjust to a lonely life. At that time, I was also in contact with his father, who became an investor in my new business. While his father was a great man, he didn't think much of Jared. Jared was a party animal with no intention of settling down. His father was angry at his irresponsible personality and wanted him to improve his image. Jared decided to date me and find a way to redeem himself. He was a charming man, so falling in love with him was easy. Surprisingly, Jared seemed to improve a lot after I came into his life. He stopped doing drugs and was determined to become a better man. That is one reason why I married him. I genuinely believed that he had changed and was ready for family life. Plus, there was the fact that I was hopelessly in love with him. He always said,
"I'm so glad you came into my life, Blair. It's you who turned me into a better man. I don't think my parents would have continued to support me if it was not for you."
You've also worked a lot to improve yourself, Jared. I only wanted you to reach your full potential. I'm a little sad that you decided to stay away from the business.
You are good at managing the business, Blair. You don't need me anyway. I would rather stay at home and take care of our future children. I would love to pamper you as well.
I was stupid enough to believe his fake words. The 15 years I stayed married to him, we even had a beautiful daughter, Selena, pretty early into our marriage. Jared was a stay-at-home husband while I worked hard to provide us with a good life. I didn't mind that he didn't have a job. I loved him and wanted him to be happy. I believed that he was a caring and loving husband and father. I was wrong. My entire marriage was a lie. Everything changed when Jared's father passed away from an unexpected heart attack. I was absolutely devastated, and so was Irene. Jared's father had also been a father to me after I lost my own, so the grief hurt me badly as well. While we were all grieving his father, Jared was nowhere to be seen. Hell, he never visited him at the hospital or even showed up at the funeral. I was convinced that he was dealing with the grief in his own way. However, my naive thinking was shattered when I came home from the funeral and saw him packing. I said, "Jared, why are you packing? Are you going somewhere? Is this why you didn't come to the funeral? Tell me what's the matter."
"Well, I am leaving. I don't want to be with you anymore. I've already rented an apartment and I will live there till I get my hands on the inheritance."
"What? But why, Jared? Why are you leaving me? This is insane!"
"Don't act so clueless and hopeless all the time, Blair. I'm tired of you. All these years I put up with your lousy personality and ugly face because you were supporting me financially. Now that my dad is gone, I won't have to depend on you to have a good life."
"Jared, what is wrong with you? Did you just marry me for money? You loved me and I loved you today. Suddenly you want to leave me for money. It can't be the reason. It's impossible."
"You have always been a naive woman, Blair. I hate women like you who act so good to everyone. It makes my skin crawl. If only my dad had signed over the company to me, I wouldn't have had to be with you. Good thing he's dead and I don't want to live with a loser wife like you."
"What are you saying, Jared? We have a child together, for God's sake. Now you're telling me that you never even loved me. Hell, you won't even stay and try for our daughter."
"I don't want any kind of connection to you anymore, Blair. And no, I won't even stay for Selena. She can come stay with me at times and I can be the fun dad. She's old enough to not need parental guidance all the time. Don't try to trap me again, Blair. I won't stay in this horrible marriage even for a moment longer. You've held me back for a long time. It's time I go and live my best life."
I don't think I can even describe what I was feeling at that moment. My idol and mentor were gone, and my own husband decided to abandon me. I'm ashamed to say that I begged and pleaded to have that gold digger stay in my life. I desperately wanted to save my marriage and didn't want my daughter to be in a broken home. I also desperately needed his support. However, I couldn't stop him. Jared cleaned out our joint account and transferred it to his sole account. Selina couldn't understand why her father left us so suddenly. She went over to his new apartment to demand answers. I also went along with her because I couldn't leave her alone in her hysterical state. What we saw when we entered the apartment shook us to the core. Jared was back doing drugs again. There was alcohol and drugs laid out on the table, and Jared was casually making out with an unknown woman. Selina screamed at the scene and demanded answers from her father. She said, "Dad! What is wrong with you? How could you do this to Mum and me? Don't you have any conscience?"
Don't be dramatic, Selina. What I do with my personal life is none of your business. Besides, your mother and I are going to divorce anyway. I was really hoping that we could try marriage counselling to become a better couple. I had no idea that you had already started to have a nice life without me. Hell, you have even brought a new woman and got back to drugs. Why the hell do you think I would want to get back with you? I already told you, Blair. You were only good for me when I had no money of my own. Now, with my inheritance, I don't need to rely on you anymore. You are a horrible man, Jared. I was ready to forgive your gold-digging ass to make sure Selina had her father in her life, but now I can see that your addiction is more important to you than your family. I'm tired of acting like a family man. This is not me. I had to do this to get back into my father's good graces. You can take care of Selina by yourself. You've been doing that anyway. It's not like you need child support or anything. She will spoil my lifestyle at this point.
Hearing that, Selina began to cry very loudly. I was shocked and wanted to cry myself, but I didn't want to freak out my daughter. She kept saying, "I hate you, Dad!" while her dad went back to the other woman. I tried to calm her down and took her back home. Selina quickly went to her room and told me to leave her alone. I took that chance to have a good cry for myself. I had just realized that my 15 years of love was just a joke. I was used and discarded by Jared. Not even our daughter was important to him. At that moment, rage boiled in my veins. I wanted revenge, and I knew who to call for that. I called Irene and told her to come over. When she arrived, I said, "Irene, I went to Jared today. Selina had been crying for him and didn't listen to me. I thought maybe seeing his daughter would make him rethink his decision. Did it work, Blair? Did he at least promise to look after Selina?" "Irene, Jared wants nothing to do with his daughter anymore. There is more. I don't know how to tell you the truth, the entire truth. It's breaking me." "Blair, you don't have to hide anything from me. Just tell me what happened." I told Irene everything that happened at Jared's new apartment. Irene first remained quiet and didn't say anything. When I was done, Irene was seething with rage. She said, "I always knew Jared was a good-for-nothing man. All these years I thought he loved you and left his past behind. He was truly showing some improvement. Today he has just shown us what a horrible human he has become. He's all set to have a luxurious and carefree life with his inheritance. That's all I was good for. I was a money machine for him. Selina was his proof that he had changed. Everything was a lie. He took advantage of me and now has discarded our daughter. The inheritance he's supposed to receive is a big one, Blair. He knew that. He'd been planning this for a while. I noticed how little he came to visit his father when he was dying. That's all I needed to know. I was desperate, hoping I was wrong. You were right, Irene. He had fooled us into thinking that he had changed. Once he smelt free money, he was gone like the wind. He had no regard for his family. I don't want him to be in a loveless marriage, but he should have thought about Selina. She is his child. She is devastated." Irene was again quiet for some time before she spoke. All this while, I was crying my eyes out. I was pretty sure Selina was doing the same thing in the next room. My heart was breaking for my poor daughter. But our tears were not in vain. Irene became our Lady Justice. She looked really angry and said,
Don't cry, Blair. Jared is not worth the tears you shed. He has truly proved himself to be a disgusting human, but he doesn't know what I plan to do with him.
What are you planning, Irene? There is no use trying to scream some sense into him. He's not a child and is far gone from being a sane man.
No, Blair, I don't plan to scold him. I plan to destroy his hopes and dreams, that inheritance he's so obsessed with. He won't get it. I'll make sure of it.
I was surprised to hear what Irene was saying. Yes, I knew she would help me out, but I had no idea what she was about to do for me. She gave me immense power, and I knew exactly what to do with it. For the first time in my life, I had a burning sense of revenge. I saw that reflected in Irene as well. Jared was returned to his family after a month. He called Irene and asked to meet with her. Irene instructed him to come to my house. We sent Selina away to her friend's house since I didn't want her to witness the drama. She didn't want to see her father anyway, so she left in a wink. Me and Irene were ready to face Jared. I knew I had her support. I was feeling thrilled to finally have an upper hand. Jared was going to pay. As soon as he arrived, Jared said,
Mom, I wanted to talk about my inheritance. Is it necessary to have Blair in this room as well?
I know why you're here, Jared. Yes, Blair must be in the room. Go ahead and tell me what you want to know.
It's been a month since Dad died, Mum. I still haven't seen a cent of my inheritance. No lawyer has even contacted me so far. Why is it taking so long?
Things about inheritance take time, Jared. But I'm not sure why you've been expecting a call from the lawyer. You've already received your inheritance. Jared looked at Irene and me in disbelief. He went quiet and looked confused for a minute. I guess he couldn't digest this fact at all. After being super confused about the news, he said,
What are you even talking about? All I received in the last month was $1,000. That has been spent a long time ago.
Well, that was your inheritance, Jared. I don't know why you are still confused about it.
Mum, what are you saying?
That can't be my inheritance. I was supposed to receive half of the company. I know Dad owned a 70% share of the company along with Blair.
I should be getting my part from that.
Who the hell told you this, Jared? Has your father ever told you that he would hand over his shares to you?
No, but I am his only child. I should be inheriting his share of the company. I am the only legal heir.
Well, no, Jared. Your father willed all his assets to me. I am now the sole owner of all his assets. He only left you $1,000 in the will. You can read the will and find out for yourself. And as for the company, I have someone managing it for me. I've given this person the power to sign over all the shares to you.
What? You gave someone else the power to sign over my inheritance? Who is this person, Mum? Tell me. Whose signature I need to get my inheritance?
This is the moment I was waiting for. Irene looked at me and smirked. I smiled at her while she squeezed my hand. Then I handed Jared the papers that I had been treasuring. He took those papers and read them for himself. I saw his eyes go wide and his skin turn pale. By the end of the last page, he was shaking. It was at this moment that he realized that he needed my signature to get his inheritance. He said,
Mum, it says that you gave Blair the power to sign over my shares. Is this true?
First of all, Jared, stop saying that those are your shares. Those shares belong to Irene and her only. I'm merely handling them on her behalf. And yes, she gave me the power to sign them over to you. You heard the lady, Jared. I'm pretty sure you read the papers and confirmed it too. You still have a chance to get the inheritance you were dying for, but you will need Blair's signature for it.
But, Mum, why did you do this to me?
Irene was already pretty mad, but at this point she looked scary. Even Jared cowered a little at her expression. I was just relieved that I wasn't the target of her anger. Irene absolutely tore into Jared. She said, How dare you still ask me that question? For years your father and Blair had worked hard to make his company successful. All you have ever done is mooch off them. Now that your father is dead, you discarded your whole family so you can go do drugs and sleep with random women? You still have the audacity to ask why I did this?
Mum, Just because you like Blair more than me, that doesn't mean you can play favourites. I don't want to be with her anymore. She has no right to dictate whether I should get my inheritance. I'm the one who worked along with your father to establish the company. Your father only brought you back into his life because of me. You have accepted that yourself. You've done nothing to deserve the company. You played with your father's emotions and deceived him. Look, what happened is in the past. Our marital problems shouldn't let you take away my inheritance. This is a different matter. You should sign away my shares right now. That is the right thing to do. You are frickin' deluded, Jared. Our marital problems are definitely related to your inheritance. You are the one who joined marriage with money when you fooled me into thinking that you loved me. You are the one who threw away our life and our daughter because of money. You have no morals and don't have the face to teach me what's right. I don't care about you or your morals. I want my inheritance. You will sign them over to me right now.
Jared went on and on about how he deserved the inheritance after putting up with me for 15 years. He went on to insult his late dad and his mum while she was present. I guess the anger got to his head as usual. Also, maybe the drugs and alcohol he had been taking had impaired what little sense he had had. His words angered both me and Irene. She slammed her hand on the coffee table and said, "You want to teach us what's right thing to do? The right thing to do would be to sign over the shares to Selina since you have already abandoned her. Blair, I'll give you full power to handle the shares in Selina's name until she is ready to take over. Do not give anything to Jared. If that's what you want, Irene, I will follow. Jared has lost his right to the inheritance anyway. His father never wanted him to inherit any of his assets. Now I can see why. This is ridiculous. You can't keep me away from my inheritance. I will sue you two. I will ruin your life. Give me my inheritance now." Jared started to again scream and throw tantrums at us. In the end, he got so bad that we called the police on him. We also informed them that he had been taking drugs, so he might be under the influence. The cops took him away after taking him to oblivion. Yes, he was acting that crazy. They later ran tests on him and found an illegal drug in his system. He was then put in prison. The next day, Jared must have sobered up and realized how deep in trouble he was. He called me and said, "Blair, the police have put me in prison. Please come and bail me out. Mum hung up on me when she realized I was calling her. You are the only one who can help me." "There is no way in hell I'm bailing you out. You deserve to be in prison, Jared. These are the consequences of your own actions." "I am your child's father, Blair. Think about Selina. She must be devastated to have her father in jail. Trust me, Jared, she cares nothing about you anymore. Just like you care nothing about her. She wants you to suffer for what you have done. And don't even think about contacting her again. She doesn't want to see you. I have already signed the divorce papers and filed for sole custody. Seeing that you have been doing drugs, the judge won't have any problem in granting my wish." Jared kept crying and begging me to help him out. He had the gall to mention the inheritance again and signed it over to him. It would give him money for bail and a lawyer. I simply hung up on him and didn't take his calls again. Months passed, and Jared was forced to sign the divorce papers. He's currently in prison because he has no money. Whatever he has saved in his life was already spent in his 1 month of luxury after he left me. Selina and I are doing much better now. She's been seeing a therapist, so am I. Irene has been a pillar of support to us as well. We are also helping her while she grieves her husband in peace. She has decided to disinherit Jared and sign over everything to Selina. I would be taking care of it until she becomes experienced enough to deal with it herself.